In today's video, I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily set up a virtual machine on your Mac. The first thing we need to do is to download the VM software. To do this, we want to open our web browser, and you want to go to this website, which I'll leave in the description below. From here, we can scroll down to view more information, so we can virtualize Windows, we can virtualize Linux, and if we keep scrolling down, we can also emulate classic operating systems. However, in today's video, we are going to be virtualizing macOS. So to download the VM, we're going to scroll to the top, and you want to select download, and then you want to go ahead and save the installer to your Mac. If you are wondering what the difference is between the regular download version and the Mac App Store version, well, there is virtually no difference, except you have to pay for the App Store version, which is a way of supporting the developers. You'll also get automatic updates included. Now we just need to go ahead and install the VM software. So to do this, you want to open the installer, and then you simply want to drag and drop the UTM application inside of the applications folder, and after a couple of seconds you should hear an install noise. Now we've done this, we can exit out of the installation, and you can go ahead and delete it if you'd wish to do so. Just remember that you may also need to eject the installer from your Mac. Now we just need to open the VM software and set up our first virtual machine. So to do this, we're going to open the UTM application, and because it's our first time, you see this pop up, so we're going to select open, and then you should see the welcome screen. Now to set up our first virtual machine, we want to select create new virtual machine, and here you want to select virtualize, and then you want to select the operating system you want to use, so I'm going to select macOS. Now it's going to ask us how much memory we want to use for the virtual machine. By default it's going to be on 4GB, so I'm just going to leave it at that. You can also choose how many CPU cores you want to use as well, and again I'm just going to use it on default. If you want to find out how much memory and CPU cores your current system has, you want to go ahead and open the application called System Information. And once you've done that, you want to make sure you're on the Hardware tab in the left hand side menu. And here it's going to say memory, which mine has 16GB. And above that it's going to tell you the total number of CPU cores. And again, my system has 8. So we can exit out of System Information and use that information to decide how much resources we want to use for the virtual machine. So now we've done this, we're going to select continue. If you want to use an older version of macOS, then you'll need to import your own IPSW file here. To do this, we're going to open our web browser, and you want to go to this website, which again I'll leave linked in the description below. Now you want to select Mac, and then you want to select your Mac model from this list. So I'm using a MacBook Air M2, so I'm going to select it here. And here you can choose which macOS version you want to use. So in this example, I'm just going to select macOS 15, and then you want to select download, which is going to download the IPSW file, which you can import into the virtual machine. However, if you just want to use the latest version of macOS, you simply want to select continue. Here you can choose how much storage you want to reserve for the virtual machine. So by default, it's going to be 64GB, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Again, if you want to find out how much storage you have, you can go to System Information. Finally, you'll be taken to the summary screen, which is going to summarize all of the settings that you have chosen. You can also name the virtual machine at the top, so I'm going to call it macOS tutorial. And once we're ready, we're going to select save. Now it's going to download the operating system to your Mac, so you can use this inside of a virtual machine. So now the virtual machine has finished setting up, we want to go ahead and select it, and here it's going to tell you some information about it. However, we want to boot it up, so we're going to select the play button, and then we're going to get this pop-up asking you if you'd like to install macOS, so we're going to select OK, and then it's going to continue to install macOS, and it's going to take quite a few minutes, so you just want to sit back and wait for this to complete. So as you can see, we have now installed macOS, and now we just want to go ahead and set it up just like we would do with a brand new physical Mac. So we're going to select continue, and then we're just going to continue on with the setup process. Okay, so as you can see, we have finally set up our Mac, so we're going to select get started. And now we can go ahead and start using our Mac just as we normally would. To use a virtual machine, it works just like any other window on your Mac, so you can go ahead and resize it. And then after a couple of seconds, it's going to unblur, and the new resolution will be applied to the virtual machine. You can find the resolution by going to your system settings inside of the virtual machine, and then go into general and about. And here it will tell you what your virtual display is running at. Again, because it runs just like a normal window, you'll have this top window bar at the top where you can view settings such as your Windows settings, your shared folder settings, and some other settings. On the left hand side menu, you see your virtual machine title, as well as the restart button, the pause button, and the shutdown button. However, if you are going to shut down the virtual machine, I recommend you shut down inside of it by using the shutdown button inside macOS if you want to make sure your changes are saved and they do not corrupt. Once you've shut down the virtual machine inside of macOS, you want to go ahead and actually close the window itself, and then you can go ahead and open up UTM if you want to go ahead and view your virtual machine information. When you are selected on the virtual machine inside of UTM, you get some additional information such as a delete button, a duplicate button, and you can also import and share your current virtual machine with other people. You can also play it from here as well. If you want to change the amount of system resources that virtual machine is going to use, you simply want to select the settings button in the top right, and then you want to navigate to system, and here you can change the amount of CPU cores and memory that it uses. As you see, I've changed mine from earlier. You can also view all the settings here as well, such as your display settings if you want to boot it in a specific resolution, as well as some network settings, and if we scroll down you can also see your storage settings as well, where you can go ahead and create a new drive if you'd wish to do so. And once you've changed your settings, you want to select save, and then you go ahead and start using your virtual machine just as you normally would. And that's it. So if this video is helpful, please leave a like, and if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below.